Well, hello. So today I want to tell you a story of something that happened to me. I have been programming for a long time. I can say as from 2012 up to now, it's more than a decade. And I have been in data science for more than half a decade, I think, as from 2019, 2018, 2017 there when I was doing my master's. But up to now, I can say that I've developed some level of professionalism in the industry, and I've worked with several companies, and we can be able to understand how things work. So something happened to me. I was developing something on a staging environment, and I kind of broke um, the production environment. So this is what happened. Where I work, we have development environments, we have staging environments, and then we have production environments. So the development environment is where you do your development work in case maybe you're fixing a bug or you're adding a feature or just some kind of investigation onto data pipelines. Also, talking about pipelines, I have been a data scientist for a long time, and part of the work that I do is more of data engineering, and that's why I'm talking about pipelines. So, what happened is we had a new staging environment that we were given, an EC2 instance. If you worked with AWS, you know about the virtual machines and EC2 instances. So we were given one EC2 instance, which I was supposed to set up as a staging environment for some of our data pipelines. And what I wanted to do while setting it up is to install a Python, because we're using Python as a programming language for. Yeah, I was saying that the staging environment I was supposed to set was supposed to be having Python installed, because the pipelines that we were running and the pipelines that we wanted to stage and see how they would be performing are written in Python and orchestrated in Apache Airflow. So what I wanted to do was to set up a Python environment for the version of Python that we have in production. So in production, we had Python 3.8 something, and I needed to also set the staging environment to have Python 3.8 something. If you look at the IP addresses that we were given for both environment in production and the staging environment were kind of similar. So what happened is I SSH'd into the environment in production, not the staging environment that we were given. And the first thing that I needed to do was to check if Python is installed. And obviously, these systems, for example, Ubuntu comes with Python pre-installed. Also, Mac OS comes with the Python pre-installed. So I had to check if there is Python. And I found that there is, yes, Python installed, and it was a weird version of Python. And then I also found that both Python 2 and 3 were installed. So the first thing that I did was to clear all Python stuff. So like uninstall everything, plus all the dependencies that they had. I uninstalled everything from environment in production. Remember, by then I was thinking that I'm working on environment in staging, not the environment in production. And so by the time I was running this script, first of all, I was from on call, and on call is kind of demanding depending on when you're on call, by the way. And by the time I was on call, lots of things were failing, so I was kind of spending lots of sleepless nights just to make sure that there is continuity and fixing stuff or trying to rerun pipelines and so forth. And also lots of stakeholder engagement. So I was very tired. So the next week, I was the one who is like trying to set up the staging environment. And on top of being tired that day and not focusing so much. I instead of searching into the staging environment, I searched into the environment in production and cleared the whole of Python. And also, it's good to learn that whenever you, I like dislike things, whenever you're working on something very critical, like changing stuff environment, whether it is dev or staging or production, you need to have a clear mind. I hadn't slept, and at the same time, I was having a call with my boss, the person that I report to, and I was at the same time clearing Python on one screen. So I'm talking to him in one screen, I'm running a script on another screen, and I'm trying to clear the stuff in that. So the first thing that I saw, we have alerting systems that tell us when pipelines fail, and the alerting system started warning that something is wrong. So I look into the messages that the alerting system is sending, and it is saying that, oh, I cannot find this package, I cannot find this, I cannot find this package, I cannot find this. And then when I looked into Airflow, I saw also that it is warning that I could not find this. And at that moment, then I realized that
It was at this moment that he knew.
okay, there is something wrong. Could it be because I'm the one who deleted Python? Could it be that the staging environment is connected somehow to the environment in production, so that when I delete Python in one environment, then it deletes Python in another environment? I was so confused, and by then I was having a call with the boss. I just told him that I think I have done something wrong. I'm going to get back to you. Then, looking at the IP and looking at it closely, I realized that I was working on system in production. Well, anyway, the whole team took it lightly. I jumped onto it just to be able to solve it. And there is something so convoluted in Python and installation of packages in Python. So we have, and this is something that I like so much with the way we have set up our systems. We have like documentations of how you can set up Airflow, for example, and all the other systems that I broke, Fast API and so forth, that that I broke when working on this. We have fully documentation. So that means that if your team does not have documentation, make sure that you have documentation onto these critical systems that you are working with day to day, so that in case something happens and then someone is jumping onto it, they can just follow steps to be able to make sure that you come back online. So I followed that, but the problem was that when I was using the requirements file for people working with Python, you know that we use you store your requirements, the pip requirements in requirements.txt file. So when I was trying to install the txt file, first of all, the Python version that I deleted, I didn't know which one. I knew there's 3.8, but I don't know 3.8 what. Is it 3.80 or 3.820? So I just installed a random Python 3.8 and trying to install packages. There was collision where one Python package depends on another Python package of a different version from the version that is installed in the system. So yeah, I had to go through that. And all in all, what happened was that I deleted Python in production and I fixed it after 5 hours. After that, we had to install all other systems that depended on Python, for example, Airflow, Fast API, and so forth. So that is what happened. What did I learn from this? First of all, whenever you're working on a system in production, be clear-minded. If you haven't slept, if you are on call, don't work with the system in production. Don't try to install critical systems, even if it is a staging environment. You'll never know where you what you may be doing. Like for me, I thought that maybe I'm working on staging, I think I'm safe, I can just delete Python and install Python again, but it broke so many things and affected the operations for 5 hours. That is, everything was off. And that after 5 hours again with data engineering, that means that lots of pipelines didn't move data in that 5 hours. So you'll have a lot of time to work with those pipelines to make sure that the data is up to date in your data warehouse and everything is back to normal. It took me close to 24 hours to make sure that all the data is back to normal. So that is what I did. That is what happened to me. It happened to me last month, but I'm telling you now so that you learn. For everyone can make a mistake. Whether you have 1 year experience, 2 experience, or 20 years experience, at some point you make a mistake. It's how you handle the mistake that that matters, and also it also helps if you have a manager who understands such kind of thing. Like for me, my manager, yes, he wasn't happy with what I was doing, and he told me that we shouldn't be making such kind of silly mistakes. But he was encouraging, and also he was also happy on how I handled the whole issues. Yeah, so that's my story for today. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you've learned something. Until next time, take care. Let me test this thing.
We make